Welcome to the Rise and Wander podcast, where we'll explore adventure, spirituality, and empowerment through the outdoors and beyond. Join me, Karla Amador, as we focus on topics around the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional benefits derived through the outdoors. You'll also hear inspiring stories, get educated, and more. Let's get started. Are you ready to take a life-changing journey? Join me for a hike per week or 52 hikes within a year at 52hikechallenge.com. Gain the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional benefits derived through the outdoors. You'll also gain access to community, education, resources, and more. Plus, get 10% off on your sign up and first order with code RISE25. That's RISE25. See you on the trails. Welcome to the Rise and Wander podcast, Season 4, Episode 4. In today's episode, we are going to be talking all about hydration when it comes to the outdoors and hiking. It's my goal to help you to be safe outside, and hydration is one of the most important things to consider when it comes to getting outdoors and being safe. So I'm gonna give you some tips and talk about some things to consider as you get ready to get out there on all of those hiking adventures. So let's get started. When it comes to hydration, there are so many different opinions on how much water to bring, and I'm going to go through some of the ones that I have used and give you my personal experience. One of the reasons why people get rescued is because they don't have enough water. And so you don't want to be that person. You always want to have more water than you think you need, especially because you never know what can happen when you're out there. Before you go on your hikes, okay, especially if you're going to go for longer days, you want to start by pre-hydrating. Most people aren't even drinking enough water every single day. I don't know if you've tracked yourself, but a lot of people struggle, and so people are getting outside and they're already dehydrated. So that's one of the first things is if you're going to be hiking a lot, and especially if you're going to be doing something harder, you want to first pre-hydrate. So start drinking water a few days before, and that is the first step. As you guys know, our body is mostly made up of water, so it's really important to constantly be replenishing fluids. It's also good to flush out the system, and it just keeps things moving. So that's another reason why you want to hydrate beforehand. But getting back to the point is you want to start to pre-hydrate before you're going to go out hiking. And then a general rule of thumb is it really is going to depend on weather and what you're getting out to do. The harder the hike, you're going to need more water. The longer the hike, you're going to need more water. The shorter the hike in mild temperatures, probably not going to need as much water. If it's hot, you're going to need even more water. So I'm going to give you some of the statistics that I pulled out for you. So a good rule of thumb is about 1/2 liter of water per hour for moderate activity in moderate temperatures. So I wanted to show you what a liter looks like in case you are not familiar with that. So here is an example of a liter. This is going to be 32 ounces. You're going to drink about half of this for every hour of moderate activity. If you're going to be out for 2 hours, general walk, you'll probably go through a whole bottle. Okay, so that is in mild temperatures where it's not too hot. Now, if you're desert hiking or you're out somewhere that's really hot, you're going to be looking to drink 4 quarts of water, which is almost 4 liters. So you would drink 4 of these per day, almost a gallon per day. And a lot of the websites, like the national park websites, say you want to have at least a gallon of water per day when you're hiking and outside when it's really hot. Now, again, you might need more depending on what you're doing, how strenuous you're going. The other thing I've heard and I've recommended in the past is 1 liter for every 3 miles in moderate activity. It's pretty reasonable to say you could do 3 miles in 2 hours, which is, like I said, one of these. If it's hotter, you will need more for sure. Also, I wanted to show you a couple of different water bladders, and these are reservoirs or water bladders. So this one is 2 liters, and this would be appropriate. Like, I would take this on a 5-mile hike, for example, and feel confident with having 2 liters of water for 5-mile hikes. It's always good to have extras, so sometimes even carrying an extra water bottle with electrolytes in it. I actually pulled out some electrolytes to show you today also. So that's something we were going to talk about in addition to everything I have here. So let me show you. So this is an example of an electrolyte. This is going to be good to replenish some of the fluids, especially if you're going somewhere that is going to be hotter or you're going to be sweating a lot. If I'm doing a longer day, mountains, I always carry electrolytes. I actually typically carry 1 whole liter of electrolytes, and then I'll bring a bigger reservoir for longer day hikes. So if I'm doing like 8+ miles, I will typically bring something like this one. This is 2.5 liters. This is usually going to get me through 8 to 10 miles. And then I will bring a whole one of these. So now I have 3.5 liters, mild temperatures. Again, if you're hiking somewhere hotter, you need to bring more water, and you can bring 2 of these and 1 full of these if you're going to be doing something longer, harder, or if you're going to be in the heat. And again, prepare accordingly. Some other things to consider when it comes to water is if you're going to be somewhere where you can filter water. I personally really love this Hydra Pack Flux filter. It's great because you can drink right out of it. It has a built-in, this is a filter here, and also it's great for traveling. It literally pairs down. You can pack it away really easily, small, and this is one of my favorites to travel with. I've brought this on many trips when I travel and I'm not sure what the water quality is going to be like. This one gives you up to 1,300 milliliters. It's actually 1.5 liters here. So this is something I wanted to talk about. I know some people want to filter their water, especially if you're going to be hiking near a stream or a river. Always carry some sort of filter. That's one option. I also have some other options here. This is a good little mini filter to have in your emergency kit. If you're ever going to be out and you know you're going to need to filter, this is the Sawyer Squeeze, the mini. And then I have a couple other Sawyers here to show you, just so that you know that's an option and how small these items are. This is the Squeeze. This is their original version. I actually think this is a great one. You can actually grab a water bottle, screw this on, and just drink from the water bottle. A lot of thru hikers use this one. I don't know if they still have this one, but this was one of their other filters. And filters are a whole subject in itself. I'm not going to get into it too much today. But going back to things to carry, there's so many different brands of electrolytes to think about. The important thing is even having salt in your water with a little bit of lemon. That's another option. But if you're going out for longer days, it's a recommendation that I highly think is important. Also, when you're done with your hike, don't forget to hydrate after your hike to replenish some of the fluid and water that you've lost from the hike. So we've talked about how to carry water. I've shown you a couple of different reservoirs. I've talked about how much water you want to bring. The last thing you want is to not have enough water. Also, when you're out hiking, sometimes you might come across someone who doesn't have enough water and you're able to provide some for them. It's always better to have more than too little. I always say that, and you just never know what you're going to encounter when you're out there. Going back to some other recommendations, the National Park Service recommends having 1.5 to 1 quart, which is almost 1 liter, going back to my representation here, every hour that you're hiking in the heat. Okay, so when it comes to that, you will definitely need to plan ahead, because if you were trying to do a 6-hour hike, that would mean you'd have 6 of these, which would be equal to 3 of these in your pack. That's a lot of water. And do recognize that hiking in the heat presents its own challenges. Make sure you always have enough water, plan ahead. That's why it's so important to research your hike, research the temperature, and then pack accordingly. The last thing that I'm going to share about water in this episode is some special circumstances. And that is if you're hiking in really cold weather and how to deal with that. There's a couple ways to do it. Your water can freeze in freezing temperatures, and it has happened before. These reservoirs have a hose that the water comes out of, and so if that hose gets really cold, it'll freeze and you will not be able to get your water out. So Hydra Pack has this insulated tube, and it's really easy. You just pop it in. There it is, and this will help with freezing temperatures, and if this is in your pack, it should stay pretty warm. But there's also insulated sleeves that these reservoirs can go to. Same for these. There are insulated sleeves you can put this in, so it keeps your water from freezing. Also, I've heard you can put this upside down and it'll help to stop the freezing because it'll freeze up on top first. Just make sure that this is sealed properly. So that's it for my chat on water today. This is a really quick and simple episode, but really important. I just want to reiterate, 1/2 liter of water per hour in moderate temperatures, or 1 gallon of water if you're going to be in the desert. Again, always research your hikes before you go. Make sure you have that water. And also, if you are going to be hiking near a river, you can definitely bring a filter. The point is to be safe and to always pack enough water. Bring those electrolytes. And that's it for today's short, quick, sweet, and simple podcast on hydration when hiking. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. And I hope this was helpful as you're getting outside, and please forward it to a friend, share, and follow us. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the trails.